I've decided that that is what I want to focus on, and being able to help people achieve their goals no matter what happens from a financial point of view. The reality is that a lot of Australians are not educated enough in this field. If you're heavily invested in property and you're negatively gearing, you do need some form of protection. Why would you not protect yourself? Why would you not protect your family, right? So a lot of people come across, there's a lot of objections that you can hear about when it comes to this property. We're seeing a lot of, or I'm personally seeing a lot of mental health issues out there, and that's particularly after COVID.
Yeah,
there's a high rate of cancer.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another podcast from Geonet Property and Finance Group. I'm Chad Egan, and today we are talking about investment strategies, but a little bit different. It's an investment strategy. We're not talking about just a return on your investment or your hotel room or whatever that might be, or whatever your investment, whatever you've been investing in. We're talking about insurance and how important that is to make sure if you've spent so much time building your investment strategy and retirement strategy, to make sure that it's protected. Okay, so today I have with me Marc Rummel from My Life Insured. Marc, welcome to Bali.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, pleasure to have you, buddy. We've had you in Bali a few times.
Yeah.
You've been coming here for 10 years or more?
Probably a little bit longer. I did have a stint where I didn't, I was not able to turn up here for quite a little while. Yep.
Yeah.
But started coming back here with my family a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Enjoy it.
Yeah, good. Well, thanks for coming into the office. So let's talk life insurance. A lot of people sort of avoid this as part of their investment strategy, but I think let's talk insurance, but also let's understand a little bit about your background as well, because you've been in the industry of financial services and insurance for 17 years.
Yeah. So I've been a financial planner for 17 years. I've been a holistic planner. So
that works in Bali. A holistic planner is
giving advice around investment strategies, retirement planning, insurances, self-managed super funds, tax planning. So a whole myriad of areas, but more recently focusing on insurance.
Yeah,
and that's the purpose of my journey in the finance game. I've decided that that is what I want to focus on, and being able to help people achieve their goals no matter what happens from a financial point of view.
Yeah,
I can't help you to get over any illness or accident, but the fulfillment that I get is from being able to actually help people reach their goals no matter what.
Yeah, and I think that is important, is you spend so much time planning for retirement, and it can come at any time, sickness or health.
Yeah, so it's quite unfortunate that, there are quite a few claims that I've been involved in, but the outcome is always, I wouldn't say a positive outcome as far as the situation on a whole. But from a financial plan, if there are people left behind when someone does pass away, you can see that they are protected, and they can live their life from a financial aspect quite securely.
Okay.
There are also instances where people do have to take some time off work, and as long as they're covered, they're able to get back on the horse and still achieve their financial goals.
Yeah, so can you extend on that a little bit? So what life insurance does cover? So anything to do with sickness and health issues, right?
Yeah, so you've really got four main areas of life insurance. So you've got life cover, you've got total permanent disability cover, which is essentially TPD, and then you've got income protection, which covers your income if you're unable to work, and then you've got trauma cover, which covers specific events, traumatic events. The three main ones will be your heart attacks, your strokes, and
been there.
Yeah. And your cancers, which is a really big one.
Yeah.
So what I do is I'll look at your financial position. I will look at your assets, your liabilities. We'll talk a little bit about your objectives and what is it that you expect out of retirement, for example. So essentially, what are your goals? And we'll also talk a lot about what is it that you do actually want to protect. So, for example, if someone is a 25-year-old starting out who doesn't have a family to look after, they probably just want to make sure that there's specific points in their journey that need to be protected. So, for example, their income or some sort of traumatic event, they may not be that interested in life cover, as opposed to someone who's in their late 30s, 40s, 50s, who still has a family, has got a certain amount of debt for investment purposes, for their own mortgage. They're looking after their children's education. They may have a different suite of insurances that are necessary to cover them.
Yeah.
So your life cover is fairly explanatory. You really need it if you are looking after your family or if you've got a certain amount of debt. A lot of people may say that, oh, well, if I'm dead, I'm dead. If I've got no family and I've got
I don't want to leave that to the kids.
Yeah. But even if they don't have a family, the buck will stop somewhere. So it might be, next of kin. So that's your life cover.
So it's everybody needs insurance, is what you're saying as well, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you are in your life, you need some form of insurance, and it changes as you grow older and life changes. And
yeah, so the strategy does change. So you do have, again, your total permanent disability cover, your trauma cover, and your income protection cover, and they will facilitate for certain events within your life. Total permanent disability essentially means that you're unable to go back to work for whatever reason, illness or sickness again. And then you're going to need some form of funds, a lump sum of money, in order to extinguish any debt that you might have, or on top have a certain amount of money in order to be able to retire.
Are we protected enough as Australians in the whole?
Not really.
Right.
I think Australians tend to
everything's going to be okay, mate.
have the she'll be right, mate.
Yeah.
Attitude. But the reality is that a lot of Australians are not educated enough in this field. And what I hear a lot in the industry is, look, I've got some insurance cover through my superannuation, so that's okay. Or I purchased some direct insurance through the TV. I saw one of those ads, and therefore I took that out. There are certain pitfalls that can actually occur in that instance. And the follow-up question that I normally have when someone makes that sort of statement is, well, how much cover do you have? They don't know.
And as the general public has work cover, but that's only during the times of work.
Yep.
And it will cover income to a degree. Right.
Yeah, so your work cover will cover you for up to 3 years. I've been involved in instances where work cover did take precedence over a client of mine who has had income protection as well. And then the process of then taking out a claim after 3 years for a lump sum purpose is a nightmare.
Yeah. And I would imagine too, because everyone's circumstances are different, if you're on the path to wealth creation and trying to speed up your retirement, that might cover you for the work hours, but what about the other income that you were getting from different investments that might have needed your input? You might not have been to continue that on. So that's where this life insurance comes into play, right?
Yeah, look, if you've got, if you're heavily invested in property and you're negatively gearing, you do need some form of protection. The issue with investment properties is that even though you may have a few of them, your strategy may be to sell one of them.
Right.
That process does take time.
Yeah.
Right?
And effort.
Okay. So that's the last thing that you need to worry about if you're not well, okay? Selling a property. A lot of people will look at insurance as just a massive expense. And the fact of the matter is that it needs to be part of your journey. So, you pay a lot of money to take an asset, you put certain funds into it, you're leveraging that asset in order to actually increase your wealth. why would you not protect the other really big asset, which is your ability to earn an income?
Yeah, right.
Because everything is dependent on that particular asset as well.
Without you, the individual.
Correct.
Yeah.
So there are instances also where people will say to me, well, I've got, investments through my self-managed super fund, so I don't really need to worry about income protection.
Yeah, so we get asked that question a lot when we do a lot of work with people that have got self-managed super funds set up. So you help a lot in that area, right?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things or a couple of points that need to be made here. One is that you've got your employer that's paying your super guarantee into your investment.
Part of your normal income.
Yep. To help pay down your mortgage within that investment vehicle. And then you've also got the tenant who's helping you pay down that mortgage. Now, if you're unable to work, half of, or depending on what the breakdown is, but a portion of that repayment mechanism then stops. Okay? So you really should have an income protection policy for that style of investment. The second thing is that more often than not, a self-managed super fund will have the individual member become the trustee as well. As a trustee, under compliance and due diligence, under compliance, you really need to show that you've done your due diligence as far as who's got what sort of cover at member level. It doesn't necessarily mean that you need to take out life cover. You may have some appropriate life cover outside of your self-managed super fund, or you might have other assets that will cover that sort of debt if you're willing to make a non-concessional contribution to cover that debt if something goes wrong. But you have to show that you have done the exercise and gone through the process of whether you need cover or not. And that's part of the investment strategy.
Yeah, and that makes sense. So why do you think Australians aren't as insured? Like, what are common reasons people aren't doing insurance or not have been insured enough?
I think that, we made one point before, which is, she'll be right. I think there's an education piece there that needs to be really explored with a lot of people. And I think that there are stories out there, just like any other sort of industry, where people say, oh, I know a person who went for a claim and, they weren't successful, and so why would I pay out all this money? And I'm not interested in just, throwing money down the drain. And I'm young, I'm healthy, so I don't really need insurance. When you purchase a vehicle, going back to that example, you really want that vehicle, right? Part of the process of purchasing that vehicle, if you are taking out a loan, is you've got to have some form of insurance, right? When you purchase an investment property, it's not. Now, when you think about it, if a vehicle is, say, $50,000 average in Australia, whereas an investment property is 10 times minimum that, right? You're quite content. Forget the fact that you've been told, look, you do have to take some insurance for it, because you can cancel it the next day if you want to, once you've actually got your funds, your loan on it. You're quite content to continue to pay hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars, on that vehicle every year, right? But you're not really content to insure that loan against your investment property, which is designed for your retirement, designed for your wealth creation.
And you've spent so much time getting to that point.
Correct, right? And you've put in whatever amount of money that you put into it, right? So you're not just protecting against that loan, you're protecting against that money as well. The other thing is, why would you not protect yourself? Why would you not protect your family, right? So a lot of people come across, there's a lot of objections that you can hear about when it comes to this property, so when it comes to these insurances, right? But the fact of the matter is that when you look at, say, the story of someone who's been told that, there was a friend of a friend of a friend who never got the insurance claim, there's always a backstory. There's always a reason why. So I think that it's a bit of an education piece, and I think the idea of I'm young, it'll never happen to me. Yeah, there's some merit to it, right? not everybody who takes out insurance is going to get sick. Okay. Not everybody who doesn't take out insurance is not going to get sick. Okay. We're seeing I'm personally seeing a lot of mental health issues out there. And that's particularly after COVID.
Yeah.
There's a high rate of cancers.
I think there's wouldn't be a person watching this podcast that isn't affected by cancer to some degree within their life that they know. So we know it's there, but yet we don't take those steps to and we can cure it and we can get past it. But you could be out of work for a long time.
Yeah,
and it's so common. So
it is very, very common. And the other thing that we're seeing quite often is spinal issues. So back issues, lower back, upper back, and it's not going away. It's not going away. The other thing that people need to realise is that if you're earning X amount of dollars, and you're looking at insuring yourself for any sort of debt or your family or whatever it is that you want to insure yourself for, right? It doesn't have to be thousands and thousands of dollars, right? There are strategies where we're able to customize the insurance to make sure that, okay, you may carry more risk than what we would like, but we would rather you have cover than not have any cover at all.
And it's tax deductible anyway, right?
In certain circumstances, it is, right? We try and make sure that you can take advantage of the tax position as best you can, right? Which is going to be, in your favour. Yeah.
So that's interesting. When we always talk about wealth creation, you need a team. You need a financial coach sometimes at the start. Yeah. You need a mortgage broker to understand what's the best choice for the banks.
Yeah.
And then you need a team generally around the property as well as in a good area and what's the due diligence on the site. And very much so from when we're talking about Bali, we've been here for 12 years.
Yeah.
But you're part of that team too, right? And that's what a lot of people aren't thinking about. So this is great for you to come in and get people to think about that process. Again, with the SMSF, understanding that you have to do the due diligence, don't necessarily have to take out the insurance,
Correct.
but you do need to start the conversation.
Correct.
And that happens with somebody like you.
Yeah, and I find that once you really break down what is at stake, because when we think about investing, we always have this. We're positive people in nature, right? We don't like to think.
We don't think the negative.
No, we don't really think the negative. And if we do have a negative, we get over it fairly quickly.
Yep.
As humans, but if you understand what you're actually getting yourself into, you will realize that, hey, there is a risk, right? There is a risk with anything that we do.
Yep.
Okay. So you just want to protect yourself. So going back to what I said at the start, my purpose is to be able to actually help people to achieve their goals no matter what happens.
Yeah.
You don't need it forever as well. That's the other thing. And it needs to be re-looked at, revisited every 2 to 3 years anyway.
Sure.
Because if your wealth starts to increase, in a dramatic fashion,
Which is what we're trying to
do, you don't need as much cover, right? So at the start of your journey, you're going to have more risk than towards the middle of your journey, towards the end of your journey. And you will adjust your insurances down as that journey, yields, more profit for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who offers the insurance? How does that process work?
So in Australia, there's 3 different types of insurance, as I touched on before. So you've got your direct insurance, which is what you see on TV. And then you've got your group insurance, which is generally offered through industry super funds.
Yeah.
And then you've got comprehensive insurance, which is called retail insurance. Direct insurance is better than nothing. You will effectively take out life insurance up to a certain level, which...
Would you say that's more for the non-investor that's just on an income, or because it's not really tailored, right? It's just a one size fits all to a degree. Or...
It's basically general insurance, so there's no advice. It's all factual information, and you sort of decide what cover you want. I think there's a bit of a pitfall there because when you go to the dentist and you say, "Hey, I've got a hole in my tooth," and the dentist says, "Okay," and they have a look and they say, okay, where's the hole in the tooth? Oh, it's here. Where's, they know it's referral pain going to there. They're not going to just fill that in, right? So you really need to speak to someone who knows exactly where the pitfalls are with regards to risk, right? So if you go to direct insurance, you're really not speaking to any specialists. So you may think that, okay, I've got a loan for $400,000, for example. I'm just going to cover myself for that. There's quite a few areas that you're not really considering. With group insurance, which is generally through your superannuation, more people are taking notice of it now ever since ever since the GFC, to be honest with you, because they saw the balances erode so quickly that they actually opened up their statements, their super statements, and then they went, oh, I've got some insurances there as well. Generally, you'll find that when there's a really big event, a negative event in the world and people lose money, especially in their superannuation, they will read their statements and then they will see the insurance component. So you will have insurance within your superannuation, which is group insurance, and that is really dependent on the level of cover. It varies from super fund to super fund, but the level of cover sometimes can depend on your age. There's unitised cover, there's level cover, there's stepped cover. There's all types of different sorts of insurance setups within that, okay? And then you've got your retail insurance, and retail insurance is the area that I deal in. So retail insurance is really offered by and only offered by advisors, where, again, they will look at your overall strategy and then they will come up with a solution with insurances. And so what we will do, as I said before, is we will look at your assets, your liabilities and your goals, and then we will structure an insurance policy for you. Now, comprehensive or retail cover, which is comprehensive, we will go through a full personal statement where we will understand your medical history, and the insurer will then make a decision on acceptance or acceptance with some amended terms, or they may decline it. So a good insurance advisor will be able to place your circumstances with the right insurer, and then hopefully get a favourable outcome. The other advantage I was just going to say with with comprehensive insurance is that when it comes time for claim, then we're on your side. So we will take care of the claim process as well.
Right. Well, that takes a lot of the stress out of the whole thing too, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not a pleasant experience, I can tell you right now, but I wouldn't say it's a fulfilling experience, but the advantage that you do have is that a good advisor will be able to say, look, we're going to keep you informed along the whole process. And there is data to show that when you do have an advisor on your side, the probability of making a successful claim is very, very high.
Yeah, I can speak just from myself. Lived in Bali for 12 years. I had some health issues just over a year ago.
Yeah.
And having comprehensive insurance, but having somebody to speak to and then deal with it all so that I could just take care of my health at the time was absolutely the most important part. And I never thought it was going to happen at 46.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah.
And since then, the amount of people that I know that have had heart issues is incredible.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the thing too. You think that it's not going to happen to you, but once it does happen, the stories do come out.
Yeah.
People do tend to be quite private about their medical history, about their health. But the reality is that, we're not all, CrossFitters, Arnold Schwarzeneggers. We do have health issues, and that's why you have insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What other claims are you seeing out there at the moment? What other things have you been able to help individuals with?
Yeah, so at the moment, we've got one client who has been diagnosed with myeloma. We're going through that process at the moment. We've also got another client who has got issues with their knees. So they've got some severe infections in there, and we may be looking at a total permanent disability claim. We've got a couple of clients who are on income protection. We've got one client who's been on a long-term income protection policy, and that's quite a process because every 3 months we have to make sure the paperwork is organised to make sure that the claim continues on, because there are certain requirements. Sorry, not every 3 months, every 6 months. It's gone to 6 months now. And we have, I'm happy to say, a recovering client from melanoma, which is a very, very serious cancer.
Yeah.
So I actually didn't realise how serious melanoma was. I mean, being an Australian sounds silly, but
Slips up slap.
but the idea of the fact that if melanoma does actually get into your blood, you're in strife. So that was quite a scary claim process.
Yeah.
But look, as I said, we're seeing in the past probably 24 to 36 months, we're seeing quite a lot of cancer.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of other advisors that I've spoken to are seeing quite a bit of cancer and mental health. So I have got a client who's been on long-term mental health claim now for 3 years.
Yeah. Well, that's good coverage, and to know that, again, if you're going through those issues, that someone's in your corner with something personally tailored to your needs, and you can concentrate. Mental health is a big thing for men and women.
Yeah.
All ages.
Maybe the important thing to note there with regards to this particular client is that she has tried to return to work a couple of times and it's been unsuccessful because there have been some triggers, and we've been able to then put her back on claim without any paperwork straight away. So the insurance part of it, the idea of getting insurance is one. And then people need to understand there's quite a bit of work in the background as far as how these policies really work and what are the advantages for these clients.
You've read the terms and conditions?
Once or twice. So the notion of getting insurance is a strong one that I believe in because, who knows how much it's going to cost you? Everyone's different. But we're very focused on customising them for the client to make sure that they're actually comfortable with it. As I said before, we can come up with a strategy which will be full protection, but then it comes down to dollars and cents. It really does.
Yeah.
Because some people say, look, that's just too much. Even after you explain to them, okay, well, we're working with this particular premium number. These are the dollars that it's going to cost you. Here is the projection as far as your retirement. We can work with the other professionals that you're engaged with, whether it's the investment property professionals and the other financial planners, and we can map out a projection and say, okay, well, if your insurance is going to cost X year on year on year on year, we can show you that you're still going to achieve your retirement goals. Because there's no point in insuring someone when it's going to cost, thousands and thousands of dollars and they don't actually achieve their retirement goal.
Yeah.
What's the point in that?
Yeah, what's the point of all of that hard work? And again, having experienced it myself personally, having some sort of insurance, that was the most important part for me. And then I could just get on and deal with that.
Yeah.
And the money's taken care of.
Correct. Yeah. You just got to focus on your health. I mean, that's the ideal situation, that if something happens, you don't have to worry about, how you're going to make ends meet. You just got to focus on your health. And studies show that people who just focus on their health rather than focusing on their health and having to do both, they recover a lot quicker.
For sure they would.
And insurers know that. Yeah, so they have mechanisms as well to help, speed up your recovery, and they offer certain services.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So I guess, Marc, in close, insurance is for everybody, really, from all ages. Yes, you can go it alone, but having somebody in your corner is much more beneficial. Tailored plans for anybody's different circumstances and reviewed all the time. Yeah, and again, it's about having a team to get you to your retirement goals. Like we said earlier, you can do it a lot faster. When you've got people to help you, as opposed to going out and doing it yourself. Yeah, absolutely. Look, it's just one building block. Of your whole wealth creation journey. Yeah, brilliant. That's all it is. Yeah. Fantastic. So again, my life is Marc Rummel, My Life Insured. Thanks for popping into the Bali office. What's your plans with for the rest of your Bali holiday? You got your wife and kids here? Yeah, so we've got 3 weeks in Bali. I think it's going to be pretty low key this time. We did quite a bit last time.
The kids are pretty happy just, swimming in the pool and what have you. There's certain restaurants that we really loved last time, so we're going to go and, eat there again. Maybe go to a couple of beach clubs.
Whilst it's pretty cold in Melbourne, so any day in Bali at the moment is going to be...
I think maybe we're still in the thawing out stage. We came from, I think, 3 days in a row of 2 or 3 degrees in the morning. So, I definitely think we're still thawing out.
Well, I'm back to Melbourne next week, leaving 32 degrees and sunny, but only for a
good luck
trip. But Marc, thanks for coming into Viz in the office.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to another podcast from Geonet Property and Finance Group. I'm Chad Egan. This is Marc Rummel. If you need to reach out, if you think this is of value to you, I applaud you to do so. It's mylifeinsured.com.au. We're going to have the how to contact Marc in the description below. Thanks for your time.